I think it's very, very important for me to start with a disclaimer, mentioning that this is not a motivational video. I'm not trying to motivate you. These are actionable steps that I would love for you to take in your life, right? So when it comes to failure, right, specifically academic failure, focusing on academic failure, there are so many reasons why we fail, right? So if 5 people in a class are to get 28 out of 150, there are different reasons why they failed. Maybe one of them is because they they didn't get enough time to study all the content. One of them, the content is just too difficult for them. The other one just doesn't want to study at all, and maybe there's one more who enjoy studying. They study so much, they study very, very hard, but then they still fail, right? So there are all these different people, right? And they have different reasons why they are failing. And I think with this, you should have identified yourself, right? If you're someone who has not been performing quite well, you have to be at a point whereby you understand yourself. You know the reasons why you are failing. And even if you don't know the exact reasons, right, you should be able to at least be at a point of self introspection and actually look at what goes on in your preparation for an exam. That is essentially what is going to help you understand yourself better. And I think two very important questions that can help you in this, right? When you receive your marks for a test and they come back, it's a 30 out of 150, right? Two very important questions to ask yourself. Did I study enough for this test, right? Number two, did I understand the content I was studying? So did you study enough? Did you understand? Those are two very important questions that you need to ask yourself after every single test that you write. And this is not for you to just say your yes, your no, but it's actually something that is going to help you in the long run, because you are able to identify the type of person that you are. For example, for some people, they might answer you yes to both questions. So did I study enough? Yes, I studied enough. Did I understand? Yes, I did understand, but I still got a 30. I still got a 30 out of 150. Why? You see, so there are all these different reasons, but then what I want to talk about today is how all these different things come down to to one one, how do I put it, to one spot. I don't know what it is. They come down to one something, and that one thing is your self introspection, is your ability to be able to reflect on your failure after failing, right? And by this I'm talking about you receiving your marks back. And obviously, when we get back our marks, we get back our scripts, you are able to see, oh, this is what I got wrong, this is what I got wrong, and then you just move on, right? This is something that we do. You see that, oh, okay, I got this wrong, I should be careful of this next time, right? And you saw the memo, you got the right answer. But right now, the question I'm gonna come to you with is, you saw the memo, you saw the question paper, you saw where you went wrong. So if I'm to come to you right now with the exact same question paper and put it in front of you and say, write this question paper again, are you going to get 100%? That is the most important question. Are you going to get 100%? Because now you saw where you're failing, you saw your weak points, you were able to identify your weaknesses, right? So what is stopping you from being able to get all the questions right? Because you know what the right answer is. And obviously this goes deeper to a point whereby you need to be able to study more. It prompts you to be able to go further into your content and go through question by question. Okay, I got this wrong because I am lacking in this particular topic, right? And then that forces you to go deeper into that topic, look more into that topic. What is it about? Understand the question and understand the answer. And essentially where I'm trying to go with this overall is that we have all these different reasons why we fail, but then at the same time, if you are able to identify your reason for failing, it's easier for you to be able to take the actionable steps towards alleviating that failure. Obviously, we have all failed. I have failed so many times. I am saying this from a perspective of someone who still fails even today, right? And essentially, what I'm saying is that even before you write that particular test, this is not something that you apply after you have received your marks. Even before you have written that test, right, you should be at a point whereby you take a question paper, think of it as your exam, visualize that entire question paper as an exam, write it, complete it, put your marks, right, mark the entire thing, see where your answers are wrong, put the mark there, and visualize that mark that you got. If you got a 40 out of 100 on that practice question paper, that is the mark that you're going to get in the exam, right, the upcoming test, right? And obviously from there you have to be at a point whereby now you have to make sure that you fix these weak points. You have to make sure that you are able to better go through the questions that you got wrong, and actually I understand why you got them wrong. And this is something that is very huge, but then at the same time I am coming in front of you today to just let you know that failure is normal, but then at the same time failure is not the opposite of success, right? So that doesn't mean that because you are failing many times doesn't mean at some point you are going to get it right, right? So you have to make sure that you limit the amount of failures, and you can only do this through self introspection, right? So every single time you fail, especially if you're failing at the exact same thing, every single time that you fail, look back and sit down and try and understand what you could have done differently and what you plan on doing differently from now on. Because I think the cycle that we tend to get stuck in, especially with studying, right, is that we stick to the same study methods since grade 9, right? We've been sticking to the same study methods, even though we see that it's not going well, it's not working for me, I've been getting 30s, right? But then we still stick to the same method. And essentially with this, I'm trying to prompt you, right, to be able to revisit new study methods. You know, as much as there are different reasons why we experience failure, it all comes down to how you handle that failure, right? How do you pick up yourself from that failure and get to continue and learn from that failure? I think that's the most important thing. And like I said, this is not a motivational video. This is me giving you actionable tips that you should take from now on. You should be at a point whereby you are able to identify your weak points, your weak topics, your weak subtopics. And then from there, what you do is that you give more time to those topics, right? Don't just say I am failing maths. You got your 1.1.1 in algebra correct. So what do you mean you're failing maths? You're not failing maths, you're failing Euclidean geometry. You're failing your functions, right? You're failing your calculus, you name them, right? So you're failing in specific topics. And what I want you to do is that you should sit down and go and consult with these different topics. Give them time. Every single one of them, give them, your minimum should be 2 hours. If you've never spent at least 2 hours sitting down trying to understand a topic, you are not in a position to say that topic is difficult, right? So give yourself 2 hours, and I promise you it will be worth it. Thank you.